بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى والذي خلق السماوات والأرض بغير عمد ترونها تبارك وتعالى هو الأول والآخر وإليه المنتهى نحمده ونستعينه ونثني عليه ونؤمن به ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف بريته ومبلغ رسالاته العبد المؤيد الرسول المسدد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. Brothers and sisters, I encourage all of us in this month of taqwa to try to uphold it as much as we can in this month and outside this month, to fear Allah in a good way and be obedient towards Him. So last week we started reading a little bit from this khutbah number 64 of Nahj al-Balagha. I said that given the recent passings of younger individuals in our community, just a reminder for all of us that this is just around the corner for any of us maybe. This whole idea of death and Malakul Maut. And so we started this little khutbah here. We're not going to be able to finish all of it, but I'm going to just cover some more parts of it, just as a reminder for all of us. If the holy month of Ramadan is to remind us more and more of Akhirah, and that death is to come, as we talked about last week, where we said that one of the reasons for the fast, according to that famous sermon of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, is to remind us of the hunger and thirst of death, or of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Then it's one can say that the fast is to remind us a little bit about, yes, the afterlife as well. So he says in this khutbah, Imam Ali, and I said this last week, but I just want to remind us that he says, purchase the akhirah, or yes, ibta'u ma yabqa lakum bima yazulu ankum. Purchase that which will persist and never cease to exist with that which is going to cease to exist. And I gave the example last week of how some people have cash on their hands and they keep it in the bank, but there are some people who know that cash in reality isn't really backed by anything. It's something that debases, devalues, so they will flip it into something that is a harder asset, they call it. What is that harder asset? In this context, it is the akhirah. So you have the cash of this dunya, which debases, because as time passes, it debases. I would rather have the life of a 10-year-old than the life of a 60-year-old. All right? The time that the 60-year-old has isn't worth anything anymore, as much as the time that a 10-year-old has. The quality of time that this one has is more than that one, of course. Anyway, so as life goes on, it debases in value. There are some who will flip this life of theirs, this cash of theirs, into a harder asset, which is the akhirah. Yeah, just like how people in this life, they will purchase land, property, real estate with their money. Why? Because they know that's not going to debase. As a matter of fact, it's going to go up in price. Anyway, we might get to that later a little bit as well, because the Imam repeats something that I think is important. Anyway, he goes on and says, وَاسْتَعِدُّوا لِلْمَوْتِ فَقَدْ أَذَلَّكُمْ. O people, prepare for this death. Why? Because فَقَدْ أَذَلَّكُمْ. Dhilal in Arabic means a shadow. And so he says, look, the shadow is cast over you of death already. You see, sometimes you're far away from something, you know it's coming, but it's not there yet, and so you feel like there's a separation between you. Sometimes no, you're that close that it has cast its shadow over you, that thing. That's when you're going to start taking it into consideration. So the Imam uses this metaphor here. He says it has cast its shadow over you. وَكُونُوا قَوْمًا سِيحَ بِهِمْ فَانْتَبَهُوا. Be a people who have been called and they have awakened. Sometimes someone is asleep. Yeah, they're asleep. No one has called them yet. They have not been reminded of anything that's coming. Sometimes there are a people who are called and they've woken up. But when you wake up sometimes, when the danger is so imminent that you hear the noise, you hear that scream, that shout, whatever it is, that it's so close, it might be too late. But yeah, I woke up now. Well, you woke up, but something hit you in the face right away. Yeah, these people though, He says, Imam Ali says, there are some people who are going to be awake, not because that thing is about to hit them, but it's as if they've heard the call, the cry already, and so they're already awake. That's so much better. To be alert from before. Now, when you read Nahj al-Balagha, the whole thing almost is just awakening us, awakening us. He's always screaming in our faces, Imam Ali, reminding us of this thing called death. وَعَلِمُوا Be of the people who عَلِمُوا أَنَّ الدُّنْيَا لَيْسَتْ لَهُمْ بِدَارٍ فَاسْتَبْدَلُوا It's just interesting that the Imam keeps repeating in this and other sermons, other Ahlul Bayt, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, they always repeating the same thing. That they say, Dunya laysat lahum bidar fastabdalu. There are people who, they understand, it doesn't take too much rocket science to figure this out. They understand that this is not a home to them. This life is not a home to them. Home is where you settle down, that you know you're never going to get out of anymore. Yes? It says that they've figured out that this place is not a home for them because they have to get up someday. So, fastabdalu. And so they've exchanged it with something else. Well, what have they exchanged it for? They've exchanged it for something that will persist. You see, one concept, 4 or 5 different ways the Imam keeps approaching the same concept. There he says something that's going to debase for something that's going to go up in value, that's going to be a hard asset. Then he talks about how it's cast its shadow over you. Then he talks about how it's not a home for you. You see, all the different wording, all the different illustrations by the Imam, the Quran, the Ahlul Bayt, by the Holy Prophet, for one concept, to remind us that look, what ceases to exist eventually is not worth putting all the eggs into that basket. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَخْلُقكُمْ أَبَثًا وَلَمْ يَتْرُككُمْ سُدًا. This is from a verse of the Quran. It says, certainly Allah has not created you aimlessly, nor left you as useless. This is the part I like. وَمَا بَيْنَ أَحَدِكُمْ وَبَيْنَ الْجَنَّةِ أَوِ النَّارِ إِلَّا الْمَوْتِ أَن يَنزِلَ بِهِ. It says, look, there is a Jahannam, there's a Jannah. When we think about it, they're so far away. Who knows when it's going to come? But he says, look, if you understand that there's only one divider between you and that thing, then you'll take it a little more serious. There's only one divider. One thing that separates you from Jahannam and Jannah, although it seems like it's so far away. Yeah? Sometimes you have drywall, yeah, in your home, and that's what separates the room. And I don't understand how it is, but yeah, here in America they make homes out of wood and drywall and things like that. You can hear everything that's happening on the other side, right? It's good for parents though, they'll know how long their kids are playing video games and so on. But you can hear everything. And so the separation for you is very minimal there. Back home though, they use a lot of concrete when they build homes, okay? Right? You can't hear anything that's going on in any other rooms. Big, thick concrete walls, and that's why when earthquakes happen, we have big tragedies, right? Anyway, these concrete walls versus drywall. Who has a better idea of what's happening on the other side? Who has a better idea when they're sleeping in a room, it's as if their kid is playing video games next to their ear? The one with the drywall, right? The one with that thin separation, the one separation, and no more. Here the Imam says there's only one little separation, as if it's a drywall, between you and Jannah and Jahannam that you've heard of. Infinity, eternity, all of what, it's just one wall away from you. What is that wall? Illa al-maut, death. Yeah? And so, as I said before, when we have people passing away one after another like that, it's a reminder for all of us. As I said last week, the Imam in another saying, he says, if you could ask the dead to speak to you, they would just say one thing to you. The best way to prepare for that side is to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they can't speak to us. Or we can't hear them. So he says, look, there's only one thing between you and Jannah and Nar and eternity. It's maut. That's it. Death. وَإِنَّ غَايَةً. Now for some people, this is the ultimate destination. This dunya, this life, is the ultimate destination. Here the Imam starts to poke at and poke holes into this idea of, I love this place so much, it's pretty cool actually. This life is pretty cool. but the next life is even better. That's the thing. We get a taste of life here, yeah, so that we know how awesome it is on the other side. Life here, minus all the problems, is going to be life there. Life here, times God knows how much, on the other side of pleasurability. Okay? So here he says, he's starting to poke holes now. Inna ghayatan tanqusuha al-lahdha. A destination, okay, that you've taken as your destination, that ultimate goal that you have, an ultimate goal that you have, but has this property, that tanqusuha al-lahdha. That every moment that passes is eating away at it and lessening it. Okay? Think about it. Every moment that's passing, it's like, even if it's like a needle picking at a little hill or mountain, still, every needle, every poke that you use the needle for is eating away at that mountain of life that you have. Eventually, give it enough time, this mountain will run out. Even though it's a needle. Every moment, he's saying, every second is decreasing this goal of yours, making it less than what it was the previous second. Yeah, we always talk about how, hey, you see that clock handle, the seconds, every second that passes, you can never bring it back. That's what he's saying. وَتَهْدِمُهَا السَّاعَةِ. That goal of yours that every moment is eating away at, and every hour is destroying, okay? This kind of goal, لَجَدِيرَةٌ بِقِصَرِ الْمُدَّةِ. This goal of yours that you have, but that is so vulnerable to the passing of time, is worthy of seeing as short. Okay? Don't fool yourself, in other words, he's saying. You're seeing it go. Flip it into a harder asset, which is the akhirah. Now, of course, this doesn't mean we should get up after Salaat al-Jumma and do something crazy. No. Religiosity means just live your life as a practicing Muslim as much as you can, and if you mess up, you do tawbah. That's what it is. No one should think that the Imam is saying, what he's saying here is that I have to do something crazy with my life. No. Just continue living that. He's talking about those who are not living up to the standards of Islam. That's what he's talking about. وَإِنَّ غَائِبًا يَحْدُوهُ الْجَدِدَانِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارِ لَحَرِيٌّ بِسُرْعَةِ الْأَوْبَانِ. He repeats again with other wording, the same thing that we talked about. وَإِنَّ قَادِمًا يَقْدُمُ بِالْفَوْزِ أَوِ الشَّقْوَى لَمُسْتَحِقٌ لِأَفْضَلِ الْعُدَّةِ. He says something that is arriving, someone that's coming, and with them they are either bringing salvation or damnation. Yes, shiqawa or deliverance, and foes. He says this person who's coming, which is death, of course. Death, when it comes, it's either coming with salvation for me or damnation, depending on how I lived my life, right? He says, okay, if I know someone's coming to my house, with them they're bringing damnation or salvation, this is the best thing that I should be preparing for. So that I make sure that what they bring with them is not damnation, is salvation actually. When I know something is arriving, coming to my home, someone's coming to my home, with them they're bringing something very important. Think about it. There's somebody that can bring for you something really good, a nice souvenir, but at the same time, if you get on their nerves, they'll bring you trash. You're like, I don't want them to bring trash, number one. Number two, I know they have the potential to bring me something really good. So let's prepare for it. How? By making sure that that person likes me. I'm on their side, they're on my side. When death comes, وَجَاءَتْ سَكْرَةُ الْمَوْتِ بِالْحَقِّ, the Quran says. When death comes, it comes with haqq and haqq alone. There's no batil and falsehood anymore. In other words, it is coming with exactly what you sent to it. Death comes, this is what they say about Malakul Maut. Some say, oh, Malakul Maut, the angel of death, he's very scary. It's not the case. Some hadith say he's very beautiful. Some hadith say he's very scary. And the conclusion you come to is that he's actually just a reflection of me. So why not? This is the best thing to prepare for then. If everything depends on me, all the struggles or eases on the other side depend on me. Salvation, damnation depends on me. Everything depends on me and my actions, then why not prepare for it? The Imam says, and the Imam is like just repeating something to us that we already understand. Like this is common sense. if someone's coming to me with either this or that, and I'm the one who determines what they come with, then I better prepare for it. And he says it in one line. قادما يقدم بالفوز أو الشقوى لا مستحقون لأفضل العداء. That is deserving of the best preparation. فَتَزَوَّدُوا. So, prepare, people. The Quran also uses the same verb. It says, تَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. تَزَوَّدُوا فِي الدُّنْيَا مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. So, O people, prepare for that day, for that moment. فِي الدُّنْيا مِنَ الدُّنْيا. Prepare for death. He uses the word dunya twice now here. He says, prepare for death while you're in this dunya. That's the purpose of us being here. You cannot prepare for an akhirah unless you come to a dunya first. All right, some people say, why didn't God take us straight to heaven? Well, we have to understand the equation. There is no Jannah unless there's a dunya before it. And you have to come and prepare for it. All right, so while you're in this dunya, not ba'da dunya. The Imam says, fid dunya. While you're in the dunya, prepare for the akhirah. Min dunya. From the dunya. So, two things here. Two dunyas. Number one, he says, when you're in the dunya, so the place you have to be, if you want to prepare for dunya, is the dunya itself, for the akhirah, is in this dunya, number one. Number two, understand that the reason why you have to be here is because this dunya has something in it that you can take from, that you take for the akhirah. That zad, that provision. The provision only exists here. So you have to be here, number one, and you have to take from that provision to be able to make it. What is that greatest provision? It is only in this dunya, brothers and sisters, that we have the opportunity to be either obedient or disobedient. That provision, which is obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only can be found here, because this is the only place you can tell someone pray, and they can pray or not pray. You can tell them fast, and they can fast or not fast. In the barzakh, in akhirah, it's not about this stuff anymore. There's no, oh, you want to pray, you don't want to pray. No, it's not like that. There, it's all, everything just happens. Everything's happening. Allah is going to say, this person, punishment. This person, there's no, let's see if they're going to pray or not anymore. No, that only happens in a place where it's possible to disobey God. The only place it is possible to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the dunya. And it's the only place that you can obey as well while you can disobey. And so for us, the sky is the limit when it's to the upside in our growth. But at the same time, God knows how far down a person can go. The only reason why we can go so high in the dunya is because there's also the opportunity and potentiality to go very low as well. You can only go high when you can also go low. All right? So that's the place for this. Dunya. That's what we're here for. He says, Tazawwadu. Fid dunya, min ad-dunya. While you're in this dunya, take from this dunya. What do I take from it? Well, take from it that which is going to benefit you. That which is the reason why you're here. Or else Allah would have just taken you straight to barzakh. What's the reason I'm here? The fact that I can obey and I can disobey. Then I'll fast forward to the end of the khutbah where he says, Nas'alullah, and this is our dua as well. The Imam, he makes a dua. That's why I personally think that this sermon of his was an actual Jumma sermon that he might have delivered. Because not all the sermons in Nahj al-Balagha are ones that he might have delivered in Jumma. This one though seems like it is. He ends with this dua, and we also have this dua from Allah. He says, Nas'alullaha subhanahu an yaj'alana وإياكم ممن لا تبطره نعمة ولا تقصر به عن طاعة ربه غاية. We ask Allah the glorified, he says, that He may make us and you like one whom bounty does not mislead. If Allah gave us ni'mah, it doesn't throw us off of the final destination, which is the akhirah. Someone's well off here, fine. Akhirah. Whom nothing can stop from obedience of Allah, and whom shame and grief do not befall after death. We ask Allah the same thing that Imam Ali asks, inshaAllah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين أثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى والمثل الأعلى تبارك وتعالى ثم أصلي وأسلم على نجيبه وحبيبه وحافظ سره الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى اللهم صل وسلم على علي أمير المؤمنين وعلى فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة اللهم صل وسلم على أئمة الهدى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف القائم المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. Once again, I remind all of us to, inshallah, strengthen our taqwa in this month and to be obedient servants of Allah in and outside of this holy month, inshallah, and to be His obedient servants throughout our lives. In this second khutbah, I just want to share a hadith that I saw from Imam al-Hasan, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh. Because we're in those days of his wiladah. This is a hadith that has different parts to it, so I don't know if we can go through all of it, but we'll see how much we can go through. In this hadith, different little short liners, one-liners he has, but it's all in one hadith. So it says, وَقَالَ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ إِنَّ مَنْ طَلَبَ الْعِبَادَةَ تَزَكَّى لَهَا. First one. That the one who seeks ibadah and worship of Allah. Okay, so this is the month of worship of Allah. Who are we kidding? Ramadan is the month of worship of Allah. So I feel like this hadith, this part of it at least, is very relevant right now. And we're getting closer to the nights of Qadr as well. Inshallah, Allah gives all of us tawfiq to benefit as much as we can from those nights. Yes. Okay, so we are in that time. We'll see sometimes someone who does whatever they want throughout their life. You know, very sloppy when it comes to wajib and haram, observance of these things. Then the nights of Qadr come, they're ready for ibadah. They're prepared for ibadah. They'll get their nap in the day before and all of that. And that is wonderful. I'm not God. It's none of my business. Allah forgives whoever He wants and changes the hearts of whoever He wants. But if we really want to maximize on ibadah, because I would say that the minimal amount that we get from ibadah is forgiveness of our sins. Okay? And I'm saying this based on just what we've seen back home of these greats, or else I'm nothing special myself. But what you see with them is that they're after something greater when it comes to worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not just forgiveness. Forgiveness is wonderful if someone gets it. In our du'as, we'll find that sometimes the imams, that's the only thing they're asking for, as if, oh Allah, I ask you one thing, that if you give me that, then I don't have to worry about anything else. What is it? فَكَاكَ رَقَبَتِي مِنَ النَّارِ. That my neck is freed from Jahannam. Okay, so that is something. And I'm not trying to undervalue that at all. But there's also a maximum here that some are after. But they understand that if they want to maximize on ibadah and worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those benefits that will come not just for forgiveness of sins, but much more than that, to the point where it's as if they see Allah. Okay? For that, you have to prepare yourself first. Not prepare by taking a nap the day before, okay? That's also something, but their preparation is tazkiyah, okay? Once again, that taqwa, that wajib and haram, that obedience of Allah, they take it to a level where they are purified. Once you purify the ground of all the weeds and obstructions and problems and stones and whatnot, that's when if you plant the seed, whatever seed you plant, it grows. It grows. Versus if I don't till the ground, I don't take care of the ground and all of that, yeah, I'll sprinkle as many seeds as I can, and some of them might sprout, but it's not going to come out the way I want it to come out. If I want to maximize, I purify myself. How do I purify myself? With purification from sin and disobedience of Allah. Then any seed, which is that ibadah that I plant, grows into what it's supposed to grow into. And so he says, Man talaba al-ibadah, whoever seeks ibadah, تَزَكَّى لَهَا. They will purify themselves for that ibadah. Some of us might think that ibadah is what purifies me. Okay? And that is true. Istighfar is a form of ibadah. It purifies us. Okay? But that's one way to look at it, as I said. But another way to look at it is that no, if I purify myself, do the work myself, then the ibadah can do more for me. Yeah? The ibadah can do more for me. Think about it. Sometimes you got dirt and grime and all this stuff on your hands, right? You put your hand in the water, you wash it with soap. All right, you do one washing. A lot of the grime goes, but your hand still is kind of, it still has some color on it. It's still kind of sticky, kind of dirty, You'll have another washing until it finally gets purified. Sometimes, before washing your hands, you'll go and take care of everything. You'll take wipes and all that. You'll wipe your hands clean as much as you can. Those 3 washings that person did versus the one who has already cleaned their hands before is going to be a big difference. This person, after 3 washings, their hands are shining and glowing. Kind of like right now with me, okay? There's a difference. It says, purify yourself so that you can get that special purification. But some of us might say, ibadah, so I get purified. That's the difference. إِذَا أَضَرَّتِ النَّوَافِلْ بِالْفَرِيضَةِ فَارْفُضُوهَا. I love you, Imam Hassan. Thank you for saying it, because if I say it, some people might not agree. It says, when the mustahabbat get in the way of the wajibat, then reject those mustahabbat. Okay? Once again, very simple. Right? But there's something that we should understand, and hopefully we do. But I do know, I've heard stories before of people who sometimes might compromise on the wajibat. Why? Because of certain mustahabbat. Okay? Maybe saying something they shouldn't say to their parents. Why? Because they're not letting their kids go do something that's one of the mustahabbat even. Okay? Or a person who has read that the hadith says if you do this and do that amal, you are going to be one of the companions of the 12th Imam. But to be able to do that, this person sometimes their amal will go all the way till like their salat becomes qaza. Right? No, that's wajib, that's mustahab. Yeah. No. What we have to get the priorities straight. The Imam here is saying it very clearly. And so sometimes this is not something we struggle with too much, but you see it here and there. إِذَا أَضَرَّتْ. If the nawafil and the mustahabbat, they are going to harm your wajibat, that is what you preserve. The wajibat are what you preserve. That is what matters the most in Allah. And that's why Allah made it wajib versus other things. If other things were more important like mustahabbat, Allah would make the mustahabbat wajib. But He didn't. The mustahabbat are mustahabbat, the wajibat. And so sometimes you are feeling it, sometimes you're just not feeling it anymore. If you're not feeling it, put it aside, it's fine. As long as I'm taking care of the wajibat. One of these great scholars, whenever someone would ask him this question, that sometimes I'm just not feeling Salat al-Layl, let's say. I missed my Salat al-Layl. What do I do? He's like, did you miss a wajib act too? They're like, no. He's like, okay, then you're fine. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, we're not superhumans. We're not robots. We get tired sometimes, these kinds of things. And the Imams acknowledge that. That famous hadith by Imam Ali where he says that, look, sometimes you're feeling it, do what you can. But when you're not feeling it, don't just, that's not the time to do it. Very simple. All right, next. Al-yaqinu ma'adun lis-salama. I personally like this one. I just feel like we won't be able to figure out exactly what the Imam means here, of everything that he means here, but let's give it a shot. He says, yaqeen is a shield, is a preservation for one's salama and health. Soundness, let's call it. Yaqeen and soundness go hand in hand. Okay, hand in hand. How? What kind of soundness are we talking about here? Physical soundness? Mental soundness? Soundness in one's religion and religiosity? What soundness are we talking about here? He doesn't specify. He says in general, any form of health and soundness is going to be the result, at least in some way or one way or another, with yaqeen. So my understanding of what this hadith might be saying, my little effort of trying to understand it is this. You find throughout, even our fiqh, brothers and sisters, even our fiqh, you find that there's a special value given to yaqeen and not having so much doubt and shak in everything. To the point that there are some hadiths we have in fiqh, that aspect of religion which is the basic, the bare minimum they say. Even there you'll have this idea of yaqeen is very important and precious. Yaqeen means conviction, to have certainty in something, okay? That you're not supposed to get rid of this yaqeen with anything else. I'll give you an example. There's a hadith that we have, it's a set of hadiths that we have, that our maraja have written volumes of works on these hadiths, okay? To the point where you're like, okay, I don't know if any more you can get out of this hadith. You've milked it really for whatever it's worth. But the hadith says, something to the effect of, لا تنقض اليقين بالشك. Don't invalidate your yaqeen with shak and doubt. And so the bare minimum understanding of this hadith, or this set of hadiths, is that, look, for example, you had wudu, 2 hours later, you're like, wait a minute, did I lose my wudu or not? Well, did you have yaqeen that you had wudu? Yes, I did. But I'm not sure, did something happen that my wudu is gone? Okay, so you had a previous yaqeen, now you have a shak and doubt. Don't let this doubt get in the way of the yaqeen you had. Keep that yaqeen until another yaqeen comes and invalidates it. Even in fiqh, okay, yaqeen has a lot of value. We had a friend in school, his dad was an imam, they were Sunni. This kid had wudu like 3 days straight. I don't know how he would do it. Every time you ask him, hey, you have wudu? I have wudu. You're like, dude, you were sleeping. You're like, what happened? You were in the bathroom? I have wudu. All right, good for you. I guess that's imam's son privilege that he had. Okay? But anyway, to this extent that if a person has too much shak in fiqh, if a person has too much shak till they become waswasi or kathir or shak, they call it, what's the rule? Don't even pay attention to your shak. Well, what do I do then? I'm not sure, I washed my arm 4 times, I'm not sure, maybe there's still somewhere that doesn't wash properly for my wudu. Just disregard it. What, really? Yeah, disregard. Act like the way normal people act. How many times do they wash it? 3, 4 times, they'll rub their arm over it? That should be enough. No, but I have shak. Too much shak is not good. You know what? It reaches a point where these people go crazy sometimes, and they really can't, it's hard. I personally have been through this myself. There was a time where our interpretation of religiosity was not a very accurate one, and we kept falling into shak. It really eats away at a person's mind. And that will affect the body as well. Now this is just fiqh. Think about shak all the time, skepticism when it comes to beliefs. That's what one of our teachers would tell us. He would say, yaqeen is so precious. If you can accomplish and achieve yaqeen, only 2 or 3 yaqeens regarding your beliefs, these will permeate all of your other beliefs that you might have. It will affect everything. You'll see that everything is going back to that one yaqeen that you have about something. So a person who cannot achieve yaqeen, psychologically there's going to be an issue, physically there might be an issue, with their deen there might be an issue. And so the Imam is saying here, my understanding, that look, try your best to reach a point where you achieve yaqeen in things. And once you have that yaqeen, you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you move forward and get done what you need to get done. And finally, this last one, I'm just choosing this one out of the rest. I like this one a lot too. بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَ الْمَوْعِظَةِ حِجَابُ الْعِزَّةِ. That between you and, let's say, you and taking heed in good words and good knowledge and information is one curtain and veil, and that is the veil of izzah. Okay, what does that mean? Once again, this is my understanding here, that sometimes there is a lot of good information out there. Someone has that information. I want to access that. I want to learn from them. Well, when you go and ask that person, or when someone is telling you something that's good, that's going to affect you positively in life, criticizes you about something, says, look, brother, I don't think you should be doing this like this, you should be doing like that, and you know they're right. The only thing getting in the way of you and benefiting from that knowledge and information is what? Your own ego and arrogance. That izzah that you have. Imam Hassan Islam here says, understand that that's the veil. In other words, you have to tear that veil down sometimes. Yeah? You have to kneel in the presence of this ustad for this and that. There's no choice. Now, of course, that ustad isn't going to capitalize on that. Isn't going to point his finger at you and say, you got to learn from me. No. This is a war and battle within ourselves sometimes. That we have that ego that is so hard for us to put aside. But if we understand that if we understand how good it'll be, if we do put it aside, then all the benefits will be ours. Versus another person who isn't willing to make that sacrifice. Yes, sometimes the only thing between us and that knowledge and that growth, spiritually even, is the izzat that we have, the ego that we have, and we need to put that aside if we understand that that's the only barrier between us and that. And finally, before I end, this year, this is the last Jumma that I'm going to have in the month of Ramadan, so I'll just say it now. Brothers and sisters, as I said in the Jumma before Ramadan beginning, I said that the beginning of Ramadan is going to be great and stuff, right? Because everyone's going to be on the same page. I actually can't think of the last time all the followers of all the different marajah were on the same page when it came to moon sighting, okay? Even the ones who were followers of Ayatul Akhui. Everyone was on the same day for the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. So you know what that means though? That means the end is going to be different probably. And so, what we have coming up for Eid is going to be something we need to talk about. So we will have that workshop next Saturday, was it? We'll have it next Saturday. That's not what I want to say necessarily here. All I want us to know is that, brothers and sisters, we have to understand that sometimes, these are the times of ghaiba that we're in. Sometimes there will be these differences. It's fine. There is a good chance that we might have two Eids. For those who follow Maraja, who believe in optical Eid, versus those who believe in only naked eye sighting of the moon. It's fine. Yeah. Some people say, the Muslims should be united. Well, at the end of the day, there's some people back home that are going to be praying a different Eid. We're not all united in a lot of things. That's not the definition of unity. Sometimes we have to redefine our definition of unity and understand what that really is supposed to entail versus something. It would be nice if the whole world was united. It would be nice if Shia and Sunni were one. We were doing everything the same. It would be good if all the people, Christian, Jew, Muslim, were all the same. It's not like that, brothers and sisters. We are living in this world. Allah's watching to see how we react and deal with things. That's the more important thing. All right, we'll have two Eids then, fine. There's a good chance, we're not sure yet. We'll have to see. We'll talk about this, inshallah, in the workshop as well. I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the brothers and sisters because there was an announcement that was put out a couple days ago by one of the organizations that is out there that usually does that. And so I just want to say we need to wait until the time comes and we'll talk about that more, inshallah, as well. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asri inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq وتواصوا بالصبر صدق الله العلي العظيم. We can if you want. Thank you. That's fine. Oh, you want to go more?
Yeah, I just wanted this dip not to hurt.
No, it's right here. It's right here. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله وأنه حجة الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد كذلك الله ربي الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد يا من له الدنيا والآخرة. ارحم من ليس له الدنيا والآخرة. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا علي يا عظيم يا غفور يا رحيم، أنت الرب العظيم الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وهذا شهر نظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور، وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه عليه، وهو الشهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، وجعلت فيه ليلة القدر وجعلتها خيرا من ألف شهر. فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك من علي بفكاك رقبتي من النار، في من تمن عليه وادخلني الجنة برحمتك أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
There is a dua sehet for brother Mohsen Muklai, who is the brother of Noshad and Mahmoud Muklai. Let us recite Amma Yujib. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 اللهم
Amin, just a few announcements regarding upcoming programs and events. Just a reminder, we have daily programs here at CFK tonight through Thursday, April 13th, with speeches by Sheikh Mahdi about the lives of Prophets Nuh, Saleh, Yunus, and Shuaib. In addition to the regular series, there is a special series of 5 lectures starting this Sunday that Sheikh Mahdi has prepared for us. That is on the life of Imam Ali alayhi salam off of the battlefield. Our programs begin at 7:15 p.m., followed by Salatul Maghribain, Iftar, and the recitation of Dua Iftatah. Also, please note that the Amal for the night of the 19th, the 21st, and the 23rd will be held here after Iftar on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, respectively. Other programs and events include a Sisters Lock-In tonight at Dallas Youth Group Lounge. As Sheikh Amin mentioned earlier, we do have our moon sighting workshop on April 15th. That is not this Saturday, but the Saturday after this Saturday. So April 15th, where we will be discussing the rules, applications, and maps, and the causes of different announcements of Eid, even from people who follow the same marja, what the real difference between unity of horizon versus difference of horizons is, and when does moon sighting in a region necessitate its sighting in another. So these are important questions that will be answered in this workshop. Please note that this workshop is going to be in person only. It will not be available live stream or recording. For those who wish to avail the privilege of sponsoring a night during the holy month of Ramadan here at CFK, please visit our website and make your contribution in 3 very easy steps. Jazakallah for your contribution, and may Allah bless you and your family. As always, when you go to our website, cfkdfw.org, you can find event details posted there as well, and you can subscribe to our newsletter and to our WhatsApp group. Once again, Jazakallah to all our sustaining members, donors, volunteers, and program sponsors for your contributions. If you're not a member yet, please consider becoming one by contacting our membership director, Brother Asif Patel. For opportunities to donate, sponsor programs, or help behind the scenes, please speak to myself or any of the existing volunteers. Let us please recite a Surah Fatiha for the marhumin of our NAR sponsors. Marhum Mukhtar Ali Makhraj, Marhum Arbab Banu bint Haji Nanji, Marhum Qurram Raza Ali, Marhum Muhammad Jafar, Marhum Shabab Ali Ghulam Hussain, the marhumin of Brother Sadiq Makhraj and family, and let us please also include our marhumin and the marhumin of the Ummah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أشهد أن عليا ولي الله وأنه حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كذلك الله الرحيم. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. الله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. تسبيح فاتحة السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. دعاء الإمام السجاد في يوم الجمعة. الحمد لله الأول قبل الإنشاء والأحياء، والآخر بعد فناء الأشياء، العليم الذي لا ينسى من ذكره ولا ينقص من شكره ولا يخيب من دعاه ولا يقطع رجاء من رجاه. اللهم إني أشهدك وكفى بك شهيدا، وأشهد جميع ملائكتك والسكان سماواتك وحملة عرشك، ومن بعثت من أنبيائك ورسلك وأنشأت من أصناف خلقك، إني أشهد أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك، ولا عديل ولا خلف لقولك ولا تبديل، وأن محمدًا صلى الله عليه وآله عبدك ورسولك، أدى ما حملته إلى العباد وجاهد في الله عز وجل حق الجهاد، وإنه بشر بما هو حق من الثواب، وأنذر بما هو صدق من العقاب. اللهم ثبتني على دينك ما أحييتني، ولا تزغ قلبي بعد إذ هديتني، وهب لي من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. صل على محمد وآل محمد، واجعلني من أتباعه وشيعته، واحشرني في زمرته، ووفقني لأداء فرض الجمعات وما أوجبت علي فيها من الطاعات، وقسمت لأهلها من العطاء في يوم الجزاء، إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. وأفلح من قرأ الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
توجه زيارة. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام على الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، السلام على 9 المعصومين من ولد الحسين، السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم